a wife and 5 children behind. I'm assuming, although I haven't confirmed this, that the children are probably U.S. citizens. Who is taking care of this family? And what about the families where the parents are gone? A woman comes out and she's arrested, she's on her way into town, she doesn't even get to say goodbye to her children. Is there anyone left in that house to take care of those children? I've heard of immigrants who have had to instruct their children on who you should go to see if I'm not around. They're just left on their own. And is this the America that we want to be?
For those children that are deported, for the parents that are deported that leave their children, if their children are American citizens, and there's no family member left to take care of them, they're taken into foster care. They're taken care of by our taxpayers' dollars, rather than the parents that were out here working, making a real living, of legal living, whether they were here legal or not. They were out there working. They were bringing the food and putting it on the table. They were taking care of these children, and now when they're taking away from their children and their children are left behind, now it's up to us taxpayers to do it. When, if the parents weren't doing anything illegal other than being here in the United States, making a living, they should be left alone and helped to get their citizenship. There should be something put in place where we find the ones that are not the criminals running around committing heinous crimes, that are low-key, they keep to themselves, they take care of their families, and there should be some kind of aid there to help them with the process to being a citizen, so they can continue with their life and keep their children.
Here. I got you.
Is it me?
You.
I didn't know if one of them had their hand up. 2 things I just want to say real quick. One is hands off Social Security. You've already taken more than $1 trillion from it. It's our money, leave it alone. And the second thing is, if we can afford to bomb countries, we can afford to take care of our vets. It's just that simple.
So my name is Alexander McCusker. I'm good along with Joe, but I'm not involved with the College Democrats. I'm actually the event coordinator for the chapter of Young Americans for Liberty at Longwood. And I just want to say, I'm not registered to vote in the 5th District. I just kind of wanted to see what this is all about. But I am very surprised at the turnout. I think it's really telling that all you guys are here. I think it's a beautiful thing that you all are here voicing your opinions, because you guys are the constituents that Tom Garrett is supposedly representing. I think it's really telling that he's not here, and I think he's going to pay for it a little bit when the elections come up pretty soon. So, yeah.
This ties a couple of the things that we're going to talk about together, but I want to preface it with this. Almost my entire life, I'm 20 years old. Almost my entire life, America has been at war. We have not been at peace. And there's so many things that I question about older generations that have been around. For those of you that, just a show of hands, for those of you who were alive during the Cold War, which was really not all that long ago, how acceptable would it have been for a president or a presidential candidate, let alone a president, to have potential ties to the Soviet Union? Would that have been acceptable?
No.
No. Would denying science the way that we do today, whether it's vaccines or global warming, would that have been acceptable?
No.
Why have these things become acceptable? I've lived almost my entire life having to grow up with people denying facts, denying science, and also fighting wars and killing people. I saw an interesting tweet the other day that had been retweeted and posted all over the place that said, we're lucky countries like Syria don't bomb us for poisoning kids in Flint, Michigan. And I thought that was really intriguing, that we can have these hypocritical views of say, we are going to address your country for poisoning children with gas, yet we can't address water issues for children to get clean water in our cities. And I want to ask Congressman Garrett, are you going to continue to support a platform that doesn't help address American issues and only deals with foreign agendas and foreign issues? Or are you going to care for the American people, particularly your constituents, and helping them get clean water, maintain their clean water, and really stand up for the things that we do?
You know, something kind of piggybacking off of that, something that I found very interesting, and I tweeted it as soon as it happened, and it kind of went viral. I found it interesting that the president was so concerned about the welfare of the Syrians, right? Because when he made the Muslim ban, he said, and I quote, "We don't want them here." And he didn't care about them at all, and as soon as there was reports of the gas, sarin gas, all of a sudden, we have to do something. These are innocent women and children. That's the reason why they've been trying to flee to America forever. So,
I apologize we have to go, but thank you all for all of this. Thank you for doing this very much.
thank you all for coming.
Number one, thank you very much for your leadership and your accomplishments. But let me flip your point around on you. I wonder, growing up the way those of your generation have, what do you think most of your generation will be, how they will be citizens? What kind of citizens they will be? The old generations got very sloppy, who kind of assumed we've taken the good life for granted. You've come in knowing you can't, but with everything being so negative around you, what kind of citizen do you think your age group is going to become?
So I think this is very telling, and I'm very glad that two members of Long for Liberty are here, a libertarian organization. And I've also worked closely with the College Republicans. I was on television for the vice presidential debate here, working very closely with a Republican colleague, so to speak, another student. And I think that's very telling, that there's a lot of division we see today, as I'm sure you've seen, but there's a sense of positivity about being involved from our generation, and working together. Me and some of the students from Long for Liberty disagree on some very deep issues, but we understand that just because we disagree on it, that we shouldn't act, that we need to come to some sort of conclusion. And so I think that positivity of understanding the mistakes of previous generations and what has gone wrong gives us the tools to recognize what we can do better. But that only goes anywhere if our generation and the generations after us are educated. And so while the tools of the mistakes given from previous generations are there, they're only useful if you have the education and know-how of how to act upon them. So there's a puzzle piece missing there. And I think in this last election, you saw that when there was a significant portion of the younger generation, the millennials and the generation, I forgot X or whatever it is, there was a significant portion of them that voted. However, there was a portion that didn't. And I think that comes back to education. There was a lack of education, I know in my high school, about voter participation, how to get involved, and what to do with it. And if we can address that issue, I think that'll take the positivity and the know-how of the mistakes from the previous generation and flip it into progress and positivity moving forward.
Could we ask these two gentlemen if they think of that? Could we get your take on the same thing?
Yeah.
What kind of citizens do you think your generation?
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree with Joe. I agree with Joe. I mean, we've already seen at Longwood. I mean, this is for our particular organization, Longwood for Liberty, it's our first semester up and running. And we have received nothing but support from everyone, college Democrats, college Republicans, all the same. And I think it's really just comes down to we all want what's best for our generation. And disagree as we may on some very deep things, we all understand that we all live and we're all Americans. We all want to live in this country harmoniously, and we don't want to pick petty fights at one another. So I think that we are going to be a generation in the next couple of years where we see a lot more consensus, a lot more compromise, not a lot of gridlock, at least hopefully. But if what we've been seeing at Longwood, and I know similar things have been happening over at Hampton Sydney and other campuses around the area, I think we're going to be a pretty compromising generation.
Do you have a sense of attitudes beyond campus?
As far as
Your age, your generation.
like as far as national politics, or just like for the whole age group. Oh, yeah, I mean, like, we're all kind of connected, and of course, we all get this bad rap from like social media and all that stuff. But we're all like connected to one another, and it seems like, everyone's pretty open to different ideas. We all, like I said, we all care about each other's ideas, and we just, I think what it really comes down to is we want to understand why someone feels a certain way, and understand why they act a certain way, and, we just kind of want to, we never want to, I don't know how to say what I'm trying to say here. Just, like, we don't, like I said, we're all just about compromise, and we don't want to just face gridlock, because we've seen these mistakes happen in the past, and we've seen what's happened, especially, today. And we don't want to live in that anymore, so I think we're all very conscious to it.
So kind of I'm a little bit older than those, I'm 28, but like I grew up bartering and trading things, right? So I remember when I was in elementary school, we used to trade baseball cards, and then in middle school, trading Pokemon cards. And so like, I think specifically millennials, like we have this ingrained in us that we give a little bit to get a little bit back. And I think that's why we're a lot more open-minded to some of the things around the world. Like we aren't as hard pressed on party lines. A number of us are just kind of like, this is right, this is wrong, it doesn't really matter who it comes from. So, like the Dakota Access Pipeline, that's something that if you poll 100 millennials that have heard of the Dakota Access Pipeline, I'm sure 89 to 93 of them will be against it, just because of the location and nothing. And so, I think that maybe I'm an internal optimist at heart, but I think things look good for the future. But it's our goal as elder people, myself included, to help groom our future. And, I think conversations like today, we don't all agree on everything, but us coming together and being able to hold civil dialogue, talk about accountability and transparency, is definitely a step in the right direction. And so then, I encourage you all to exchange contact information with them and stay in touch and help them as much as you possibly can.
Hi, thanks. I'm Elise Sparks, and I like to ask our congressman 4 things. One, I want to ask him to help with climate solutions. It's something that I care about a lot. I want to ask him to sponsor or co-sponsor a piece of legislation that puts a steadily rising fee on fossil fuel and returns of revenue to households. It's what economists libertarian economists, Democratic, Republican economists tell us is the best way to transition from high carbon energy to low carbon energy. If he's not ready for that, I want to ask him to join the Bipartisan Climate Solutions Caucus. There's 30 members now, half Republican, half Democrats. And I want him to find a Democrat to join that caucus with. If he's not ready for that, maybe he'll sign the House resolution that's coming out from Republicans, 17 Republicans, that say climate change is real and we need to solve the problem. And I'm going to be able to ask him or his staffers on June 13th, because I'm going to be on Capitol Hill with 1,000 other volunteers from across the U.S., meeting with over 90% of the congressional offices on Capitol Hill, and a quarter of those will be face-to-face meetings, where our volunteers are going to be meeting with their member of Congress. And if we're meeting with 90%, it's Republicans, Libertarians, and Democrats, and Independents. And our group is nonpartisan. In fact, congressmen who met with us say we're panpartisan, we're so nonpartisan. And we are focused on getting Congress to step up and lead on climate solutions. I started the chapter in Richmond, Virginia when I was living there 7 years ago. I started off as a volunteer. We don't have a group of volunteers yet in the 5th district. And Farmville is the heart of Virginia and is certainly the heart of the 5th district. And so
how do you get involved with that?
you just let me know. We will start a chapter. I brought a little clipboard and a pen. If you want to sign your name. And then this is cute. I'll pass these. Do you mind if I pass this around?
Absolutely not.
Okay. And the legislation that we're, Bart Hinkle, libertarian friend, Bart Hinkle is a editorial page writer who's libertarian, and he said, when pass this out, he said, our legislative proposal, the carbon fee and dividend, is a libertarian approach, and the Democrats want to keep it Republicans. Anyway, this little check from the government is the dividend. This is a mock-up. But in year 10, citizens in the U.S. will be getting $396 a month to help transition to low carbon energy. It's part of how the carbon fee and dividend works. So anyway, I would love to help build a group here in Farmville. I live in Keysville now. If you're curious, you can put your contact information there, and I'll invite you to an introductory phone call on Wednesday nights that I actually lead, because now I'm a staff person for CCL. So it's Citizens Climate Lobby. And so you can put your name and phone number and email address, and I'll be in touch. So thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to go back to your point about the difference in generations and how all this happened. And I want you to think about one very important thing. You have access to the internet. Where do you get your news?
Personally?
Where do you get your news?
Oh, yeah, me personally?
Yeah.
I read the Longwood University provides the New York Times every day. I sit down in the morning and read the New York Times. I also look at online sites such as Fox, as well as CNN, ABC, your average news station. However, I do try to pay attention as well, beyond that, to House bills. I go and read, I'll read over the descriptions of House bills and things like that. But then again, I'm not my average.
Right, well, my point was you had access to the internet.
Of course.
We didn't have that one.
That's for sure.
We had to rely on mainstream media. And from my standpoint, because I'm a baby boomer, it took a long time to realize how often we were either being lied to or not getting information. I get that now on the internet. Just go ahead.
Well, I think when we look at the election results, there's an election map put out that is every single person under the age of, I think it was 25 to 30, if they were the only ones voting in the election, every single state was blue. And not necessarily to specific candidates, but when you look at forms of denying climate change and things like that, I think our generation does have access to that information and is using it properly, despite what many people say about our generation.
It's also the reason that there are more independents in this country than anything else, because people are so tired of the bickering between the two parties. The fact is, we all have more in common than we have different. That's the reality. So we just have to get back to that unity of that.
Yeah, so the power of the internet is definitely something special. Even Twitter, I remember I was having a conversation with my uncle about 2 years ago, and they said, hey, where do you get a lot of your information? I said, Twitter. And they kind of laughed. But there are so many things that we don't ever see on mainstream media. So like last Sunday, the hunt for the Facebook killer, CNN, MSNBC, and Fox News. Well, CNN and Fox News had on like the 10 Commandments, something we see every Easter holiday, and MSNBC had on Locked Up rerun. And so it was just kind of like, hey, this is something that has garnered 1 million tweets. Everyone is looking at it, and you all aren't paying attention at all. So I had theories about if the killer had a certain belief system, it would have been covered, or there was a race element, it would have been covered, but those things weren't there. But I want to thank you all again for coming. Want to extend an invitation to you. If you all haven't signed up, please sign our sign-in sheet at the door. I promise you we won't spam you with emails, and we won't ever ask you for money, because I know this is Prince of Democratic Committee. We just want to keep you abreast of the things that are transpiring here. And we meet on fourth Mondays at 7 p.m. at 100 Dominion Drive, which is right beside Lowe's, the brick building right beside Lowe's. A couple things that we have coming up. On June 24th, we have a fundraiser. It's $15 a ticket. We're working on acquiring a national speaker. And we hope to have whomever is our Democratic nominee for governor and lieutenant governor, as well as Mark Heron for attorney general. We have a band that will be playing. So we plan to have a great time. And our committee we've grown tremendously over the past year. For those of y'all who don't know, we had an election night watch party, vice presidential debate watch party here. Senator Kane came by, which was a really big deal for us. We had a few hundred people there, but we're growing. We love to have you all visit, join, whatever you like in some capacity. Does anyone have any questions for me or for any of the other organizers? Yes.
Hi, my name is Yvonne, and I'm from Armville. What keeps me up at night is, if this is a look into Trump's mind, he's a pathological liar. And many people far smarter than me have said that he does have a personality disorder. And we're kind of running around all the time saying, why is he doing this? And all the things that we have to fight him for. It keeps me up at night. He's crazy, and he's a pathological liar.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions? I do want to acknowledge the people that really helped make this happen, our committee. So Pat Lust is actually I think she was actually at the March on Science today. Emily Bradley, who is from Arkansas, she just moved here last year. She was also on the committee. She is in Wisconsin visiting a newborn baby in her family. And we had Abigail Horn, who's a professor at Kansas City. We had Yvonne Costello, who we just talked about working inside Trump's mind. She was a mental health professional. Mark Kernahan, who's been over here working in Canada. Mark is actually embarking upon a new project this year. We started a brewery in August. Mr. Jim Fossey, who's been floating around, he was the person that came to the meeting at the end of February and said, hey, this is something that we need to try to imitate in some capacity here in Prince Edward County. So he kind of helped us get the ball rolling. So I wanted to personally tell you all thank you for what you're doing. Dr. Gurr, we always appreciate you with the camera. Dr. Gurr is our treasurer. He's also serving the school board. Once again, thank you all for coming. We'd like to do this again. Invite the congressman again. But we don't want this to be a flash in the pan type of thing. So our goal is really to be consistent in what we do and how we do it. And so, are there any questions for me? Any comments? Anything?
Let's give Takim a hand.
I was the pinch hitter today.
Yeah.
Our moderator called me about 11:30 and said, "Hey, I'm really sick. Unfortunately, I can't make it. I'm sorry." And
He's been trying very hard to stay behind the scenes because he didn't want it to be sort of so partisan that other people wouldn't feel as though they couldn't come and take part. And so, but then when our moderator got sick, I made him do it. So.
But thank you all for coming. Please stay in touch and consider yourself dismissed.
Thank you.